Okay, everybody see the whiteboard just to make sure. Okay, and just keep your past exam papers in front of you because I will be referring questions straight away. Okay. Okay. So last time we did distance formula. So just to quickly give you an idea. So distance formula is applicable when you want to find out distance between 2 points. So they will give you 2 points like x1, y1, x2, y2. And whenever you want to find out the length between 2 points or length of the triangle, length of any shape, and you have 2 points, you can use the distance formula. Then we studied the midpoint formula. So if you have 2 points and you want to find out the midpoint of 2 points of line segment, which means AM should be equal to MB, then you can use midpoint formula to find out the coordinates of the midpoint. And then we did slope. So there are two ways you can find out the slope. One way is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this formula you can use when you know 2 points on the line. Then only you can use this formula. But there's another way of finding the slope using the equation of a line. So make sure your equation of a line is written in this form, y is equal to mx plus c. And once you write like that, then you can find out the slope by comparison. Then slope has two special conditions. The lines can be parallel, lines can be perpendicular. If two lines are parallel, the slopes must be the same. If two lines are perpendicular, then one slope should be inverse of the other. So you flip it and change the sign. Okay. Now, equation of a line, how to find out equation of a line? Y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. So in order to get the equation of the line, you need to know the slope and you need to know the point. Okay, point and slope. So in mathematics, doesn't matter what type of question you are doing, always think backwards. Backward means if I want to find out equation of a line, think about what I need. Doesn't matter, even if it is the equation of a circle. So think about what you need and then check what is given in the question, and then whatever you want to find out should be based on what is given in the question. Okay, so I have one question here, which is from paper 2010, question number 6. Okay, so in question number 6, 3 points ABC are given. So the diagram is also given in the question. This is x-axis, y-axis. One line is going like that, one line is going like that. This is point B, the intersection point of these two lines. And this is point C here, this is point A. So they give you the coordinates of point A, which is minus 2, 9. Coordinates of point B, which is 6, minus 6. And coordinates of point C, which is 11, 6. Okay. They also says that the line L, so this is line L, passes through point B, which you can see, and has equation. So the equation of this line is given, which is 12x minus 5y minus 102 equals to 0. Okay, so it is very important and it's a study skill basically. So you have to read the question carefully, write down each and everything before you jump into solving the question. So we have 3 points ABC, we have line L which is passing through B and C, and we also know the equation of line L. Okay, so the first question is verify that point C lies on L, line L. So point C, we already know the coordinates of point C, which is 11, 6, and we want to verify whether this point is part of the line or not. Okay, so if you remember yesterday, in the last session, I explained you the definition of the equation. So equation is a condition which is true for all the points on the line. So if point C is on the line, it must satisfy this equation. It must satisfy this equation means you need to substitute the coordinates of C in place of X and Y and see what you get. So 12 multiplied by X, which means 11 minus 5 times Y, which is 6 minus 102. So let us simplify this left hand side. So what is 12 multiplied by 11? 132, isn't it? 30. $30, 102. No, it is 132. So that was correct. 132. And if you simplify this, what you will get? 0. And 0 equal to the right hand side. What's the right hand side here? 0. So it means C is on the line. So you can see that the definition of the equation is applicable here, and you will see in a lot of question it will be applicable. So if you want to verify any point on the line, then you just substitute in place of X and Y. You should get left hand side equal to right hand side. It means it is on the line, otherwise it is not on the line. B part of this question, find the slope of AB. You need to find out slope of AB. So slope of AB, you know that slope can be you can find slope in two different ways. One is you should know the points. So in this case, we already know the points. So the point A is minus 2,9 and point B is 6, minus 6. Okay. So you apply the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it will give you minus 6 minus 9 over 6 plus 2. Okay, little algebra there. So say y 6 plus 2 because this is minus 2. So minus minus becomes plus. So what you will get? Minus 15 over 7. That's the slope of line AB. And then they said, hence find tan of angle ABC as a fraction. So let us go back to the diagram. Angle ABC, which means they want to find out this angle, tan of this angle. Okay, so tan of this angle. So basically they are asking you to find out the angle between two lines. So this is the part which we haven't covered last time. So when you have two lines and you want to find out the angle between them, what you should know is their slope. So the formula is given in your logbook. So M1 minus M2 over 1 plus M1 M2. Okay. So we already know the slopes of these two lines. One slope is, sorry, there's a typo here, 8. So one slope is minus 15 over 8, and the other slope is, what is the other slope? We don't know, but we need to find out. Okay. So let us write down here. Slope of AB, which we already know, minus 15 over 8, but we don't know the slope of line L. Okay. So how to get the slope of line L? So you know the equation, 12x minus 5y minus 102 equal to 0. So just change it to y is equal to mx plus c form. So 5y equals to 12x minus 102. So the you need to divide by 5 because the coefficient of y should be 1. So 12 over 5, 102 over 5. So if you compare this with mx plus c, what you will get, the slope equals to 12 over 5. So slope of line L is equal to 12 over 5. Now all you need to do is substitute the values of the slopes in the formula. So what we will get, tan theta, well, theta here is angle ABC, so you can call theta or angle ABC, it doesn't matter, plus minus. Now you have to substitute the values of the slopes. So minus 15 over 8 minus 12 over 5 over 1 plus minus 15 over 8 times 12 over 5. Okay. So if you solve this, what you will get is something like 171 over 140. Now, important thing here is what's the significance of this or use of this two signs here, plus and minus. So plus means you're talking about acute angle, and if you want obtuse angle between two lines, you need to use a negative sign. So when you talk about two lines, there are two possibilities. It can form acute angle, which you can see that acute angle means less than 90 degree. And the other angle here is obtuse, isn't it? So minus is for obtuse angle and plus sign for the acute angle. Okay. But in your case, you can see that it's an acute angle according to the diagram given in the question. So we'll just use the first one, which is 171 over 140. So this is the answer. So this is how you can find out the angle between two lines if you know their slopes. Okay, that's the answer. Okay, so the next important thing is about centroid. What do you mean by centroid? So centroid is the point of intersection of the medians. Point of intersection of the medians. Now what do you mean by medians? So if you draw a triangle, okay, triangle, let's say ABC. So let's say D is the midpoint of BC. So if you connect the midpoint of the BC to the opposite vertex, which is A, this is your first median. Similarly, I can connect B to this midpoint of the opposite side and C to the midpoint of the opposite side, which is AB in this case, isn't it? So the point of intersection, so there are total 3 medians which you can draw from each of the vertices, and wherever they intersect, this point is called centroid, or I should say G maybe. Okay, so G is the centroid of the triangle. So question is how to get the coordinates of this point. Okay, so let's say this is x1 y1, this is x2 y2, this is x3 y3. So it's pretty much like a midpoint formula, but the formula for finding the centroid of this triangle is x1 plus x2 plus x3 over 3. So you need to add all the x coordinates, divide by 3, and then add all the y coordinates, divide by 3. This will give you the centroid or the coordinates of the centroid of a triangle. Okay, so obviously you should know 3 vertices of the triangle, then only you can find out this. Another interesting thing about the centroid is centroid divides the median into 2:1 ratio. This is also very important information which you should know to answer some of these questions. Okay, so just keep in mind it divides the medians into 2:1 ratio. Now what kind of questions they can ask you? So there is a question in your past papers, 2017, question number 3. 2017, question number 3. So the diagram is something like this. This point is 0, 6, point A. This is point B, and this is point C, 4, 2. And centroid is somewhere here. And the coordinate of centroid is given 2 over 3, 4 over 3. Okay. So this is all given in your question. Now, luckily, they also give you that if you extend this further, this is P, and they said this ratio is 2:1, which means AG over GP is 2:1. Now, that's the property of the centroid, but it is given in your question. But you should know if they are not giving you in the question, so you should know by default, like, okay, centroid always divides median in the ratio 2:1. So this is all given in your question. Now, what exactly they're asking for? They want you to find out the coordinates of point P. So find coordinates of point P. So that's what I'm saying. The properties or the concept is very important. If you know that you can get G by the intersection of medians, isn't it? So AP is your median, isn't it? And since it is a median, so P should be the midpoint of BC, isn't it? So if I know the midpoint formula, I can find out the point P. But problem is I don't know what is B. So let us assume that B is A, B, because we don't know the coordinates of point B. So let us assume as A, B. So before I find, let's say, point P, I can find out B, and then I can find out using the midpoint formula. That is one way of doing it. Okay. But I will do some other way because I need to cover one more formula from your chapter. So I have this point A, which is 0, 6. I have point G, which is 2, 3. So I'm just drawing this line. And I have point P, which I don't know, isn't it? So let's imagine this is X, Y. So I don't know, but I know that this ratio is 2:1. Okay. So G is the point which divides this line segment in the 2:1 ratio. Okay. So in this condition, there is a formula given in your logbook, which is called internal division formula. Okay. What is internal division formula? See, if I have 2 points, A and B, let's say X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and I have another point, let's say C, which divides this segment into ratio m:n. Okay, m:n. Or if you want, probably in your logbook it's A and B. So let's use A and B. Doesn't matter. So A and B is the ratio. So this ratio is A:B. So I can directly get the coordinates of point C using the formula given in your logbook. So how to use the formula? A multiplied by X2, B multiplied by X1. So you need to use the opposite coordinate. So AX2 plus BX1 over A plus B. Hope you're carrying the logbook. And then similarly, for the Y coordinate, it's A multiplied by Y2, B multiplied by Y1 over A plus B. Now you have to be careful here. In mathematics, a lot of people think that, okay, I have the formulas in my logbook, so I don't need to worry about it. No, you have to. If you don't know how to use the formula, you will be in trouble. Okay. So for example, in this formula, you need to multiply A with the opposite X coordinate. Okay. So let us use in our question. So I'm just writing A here. Or let's do it here. Okay. So I want to apply this formula here. Now I already know the point which divides the line AP, so it doesn't matter. I still need to use the formula. So how to use the formula? So if I'm using 2, this ratio, I should pick x coordinate of this point, which means 2 multiplied by x, plus if I'm using 1, I should multiply by the opposite x coordinate, which is 0. So 1 multiplied by 0, like this, over addition of the ratio, 2 plus 1. And this equals to the x coordinate, which we already know, 2 over 3. Okay. So first we will solve this equation and then we'll get the value of x. So 2x plus 1 multiplied by 0 is obviously 0, and 2 over 3 here. So 3 and 3 gone. So 2x equals to 2. So x equals to 1. Okay, we got x coordinate. Now I want to get y coordinate. So you have to use the formula in the same fashion. Okay. So this time I'm interested in y coordinates. So what I do, 2 multiplied by y, opposite y coordinate, plus 1 multiplied by opposite y coordinate on the other side, which is 6. Okay, over 2 plus 1, and this should be equal to the y coordinate of point G, which is 4 over 3. So let us simplify this. So 2y plus 6 over 3 equals to 4 over 3. 3 and 3 gone. 2y equal to 4 minus 6, which is minus 2. So y equal to minus 1. So I got the coordinate of P, which is 1 comma minus 1. So let us write down here. Point P is 1 comma minus 1. So that's the answer for the first part. Okay. Now it is straightforward to get the coordinates of B. So B we don't know, C, which is 4 comma 2 in the question, and the midpoint of BC is P, which we have it now, 1 comma minus 1. Okay. So I know that this is the midpoint, and you can assume this as A comma B, doesn't matter. So I need to find out the coordinates of point B. So again, in mathematics, whether you need to find out the midpoint or you already have it according to the question, in both cases you have to use the midpoint formula. Same for all different types of formulas. So how you applied midpoint formula? So you need to apply midpoint formula between these 2 points, isn't it? So A plus 4 over 2 equals to, what's the x coordinate? So your answer should be 1. And then similarly B plus 2 over 2 equals to minus 1. Okay. So I'm applying midpoint formula. I already know the answer, which is 1 and minus 1, because I know the midpoint. Okay. So let's simplify this. So A plus 4 equals to 2. A is equal to 2 minus 4, which means minus 2. B plus 2 equals to 2 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 2. So B equal to minus 2 minus 2. So B equals to minus 4. Okay. So the point is minus 2 minus 4. So we got the coordinates of point B as well. Okay. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Now the next part of this question is prove that C is the orthocenter of the triangle. So anybody knows orthocenter? What is orthocenter? Anybody knows orthocenter? Okay. So you know that the point of intersection of medians is called centroid. Orthocenter means is the point of intersection of altitudes. So what are altitudes? Altitude means if you consider a triangle, you draw a perpendicular to the other side. Okay. Now this point doesn't need to be a midpoint because we just want to draw a perpendicular. So it can be anywhere depending on the size of the triangle or the length of the size and like that. Similarly, let's say another altitude is here, and for oops. Okay. Okay, so another altitude from this side or this vertex like this. So this is 90 degree. So you need to draw 3 altitudes from 3 vertices, and the point of intersection of these 3 altitudes is called orthocenter. Okay, so it's a perpendicular drawn from the opposite side. Okay, now the question is, they are saying prove that C is the orthocenter. So if you look at the question, the diagram is something like this. So what do you mean by orthocenter? Orthocenter means it's the point of intersection of the altitudes. So generally we have orthocenter inside the triangle, but that's not the condition. It can be anywhere. For example, in our case, if they're saying C is the orthocenter, it means these two sides, AC and BC, they are actually altitudes, which means they are perpendicular, isn't it? Otherwise, they cannot intersect. If the altitude is drawn somewhere else, they cannot intersect at point C, isn't it? So they are just asking you to prove that AC is perpendicular to BC. But you cannot guess unless you know what is orthocenter. That's the tricky part of this question. If you don't know what is orthocenter, you'll be lost. But the question is very simple. They're just asking you to prove that AC is perpendicular to BC. Why AC is perpendicular to BC? Because orthocenter means it's the point of intersection of the altitudes. Okay, so this has to be AC and BC has to be the altitudes. Okay, now how to prove AC is perpendicular to BC? Well, you know point A, which is 0.6. You know point B, which we calculated, -2, -4. And you know point C, which is 4,2. So you know all the points first of all. So what we will do is we will find out slope of AC and slope of BC. So whenever they talk about perpendicular sides, perpendicular lines, you can imagine two concepts. One is the slope concept. So slope of perpendicular lines are inverse of each other, isn't it? And the second could be a Pythagoras theorem, which you studied in trigonometry. So whenever you see perpendicular sides, perpendicular lines in the question, there are two possibilities. Either Pythagoras theorem is applicable or this perpendicular line concept is applicable. Okay, just keep in mind. So let us find out slope of AC. It would be 2 minus 6 over 4 minus 0. And this will give you -4 over 4, which is -1. How to find out slope of BC? Slope of BC would be 2 plus 4 over 4 plus 2. So 6 over 6, which is 1. And you can see that slope of AC multiplied by slope of BC will give you -1. It means they are perpendicular. And if they are perpendicular, so C should be the orthocenter. Okay, that's the idea behind this question. Now, last question of this chapter, which is very important, and a lot of students struggle in these kind of questions. It's 2018 question number 5. So question is, they give you two lines, parallel lines. This is point A, this is point B. That's perpendicular, basically. If you want, you can connect it. Just use different color here. This is line M, this is line N. They already give you equation of line M, which is 2x plus 3y plus 1 equals to 0. They also gave you equation of line N, which is 2x plus 3y minus 51 equals to 0. Okay. This is all given in your question. What they're asking for? Again, same question. Verify point A, which is minus 2 comma 1, is on line M. Point A, so they already give you the coordinate, which is minus 2 comma 1. Verify that the point A is on line M. So now you can understand how many times you are using the same concept, and we will be using the same concept in next chapter, which is circle. What is the concept? You need to verify the point is whether the point is on the line or not, and you already have the equation. So equation represents a condition which is true for all the points on the line. So this point must satisfy this condition if it is on the line. So let us substitute x is minus 2 for this point and y coordinate is 1. So let's solve this. Minus 4, 3, 1, minus 4, plus 4, 0. 0 equal to 0. It means the point A is on the line. That's it. Second part of this question is find the coordinates of B. So you already have the diagram here. We need to find out the coordinates of point B. So how will you find out the coordinates of point B? Okay, let's imagine coordinates of point B is A comma B. So we need to find out the coordinates of point B. Okay, so how will you do this question? Anybody has any idea how to do this question? How to find out point B? Anyone?
You need a slope.
Very good. And so Kevin is saying simultaneous equations. Good. Slope. Okay. So the idea is in mathematics, you need to think like that. How many variables or how many unknowns are there? 2. You need to find out A and B. Okay. So in mathematics, if you have two unknown parameters, you need two equations. You cannot get two variables from one equation, isn't it? So your focus should be how to get two equations in A and B. So if you look at the diagram, point B is on line N, isn't it? And you already know the equation of this line. So we will use the same concept again, which I explained you. So the equation of line N is given 2x plus 3y minus 51 equal to 0. And point B is on this line, isn't it? According to the diagram. So it must satisfy the equation. So I will get 2a plus 3b minus 51 equals to 0. So I got my first equation. Okay. Now my focus is to get second equation in A and B. So how to get the second equation? So there are multiple possibilities. You can see that in the diagram, they already give you that AB is perpendicular to both lines M and N. So you need to get the slope of one of the line first. Okay. Obviously, both lines are parallel, so it doesn't matter which line you choose. both will give you the same slope. Okay, but let's find out the slope of the line. So 2x plus 3y minus 51 equals to 0. 3y equals to minus 2x plus 51. So y equals to minus 2 over 3 plus 51 over 3. Okay, so I don't care about this constant here. I'm focusing on the slope. So again, why I'm doing this way? Because I don't have 2 points on line n. So I need to use the second option, which means use the equation and convert into y is equal to mx plus c form. So I got the slope here, which is minus 2 over 3. Okay, and this line is perpendicular to line AB. So I need to get the slope of line AB as well. So what's the slope of line AB? So A means minus 2 comma 1 and B is A comma B. So the slope of AB equals to B minus 1 over A plus 2. Okay. Now both lines are perpendicular. So slope of AB, which is this, multiply by slope of line n, which is minus 2 over 3. Okay, this should be equal to minus 1. So what is the condition of perpendicular lines? M1, M2 should be equal to minus 1. So this will give me the second equation. So let us simplify this. So how to multiply two fraction, top with top, bottom with bottom first. So minus 2b plus 2, 3a plus 6 equals to minus 1. And then you need to multiply on this side. So minus 2b plus 2 equals to, you need to multiply by minus sign. So minus 3a minus 6. So 3a minus 2b equals to minus 6 minus 2. So I'm moving this to this side and this to this side. So the sign will change. So 3a minus 2b equals to minus 8. So I got my second equation. What was our first equation? 2a plus 3b minus 51. This was our first equation, isn't it? 2a plus 3b. So let us write down here 2a plus 3b. I'm writing equal to 51. So that's what I'm moving to the other side. So you got two equations and Kevin said two simultaneous equations. So you got it here. And I hope everybody knows how to solve these two equations. OK, so I'm not going to do that. Just quickly, I can say you can multiply first equation by 3 and second equation by 2. So that these two coefficients will be same. And then you can eliminate that. OK, so I think this is very basic stuff. OK, that's the idea. I think that pretty much cover all different types of questions from this chapter. And now I'm moving to the second chapter in coordinate geometry, which is circle. Anybody has any question? Shall we move on to circle? Okay. Okay, so if you understand first chapter properly, this would be very easy for you. Okay. So what do you mean by a circle? Circle means if you have a point here, which is, let's say, fixed, and there is a movable point P with coordinates x, y, x comma y, because the coordinates will change. And if this movable point moves around a fixed point, okay, if it moves around a fixed point, keeping the same distance from this point, you will see a circle. This fixed point is called center of the circle. Let's say the coordinates of the center is h comma k, and this fixed distance is called radius of the circle. Okay, and you already know that how to find out the distance between 2 points. So the distance between 2 points P and C, you can find out using the distance formula. So what is distance formula? X minus h whole square. If you apply between these 2 points, plus y minus k whole square. This will give you the distance equals to the radius of the circle. And if you square both sides, you will get y minus k whole square equal to this r square. This is the equation of the circle. So now, why I give you this brief introduction? Obviously, this is given in your logbook. So this is very important to understand. When you are doing question, you will realize that how it is important. So radius is fixed. It's a fixed distance between the center and the point on the circle. So in order to find out the equation of the circle, what you need? You need the coordinates of the center and you need radius of the circle. If you know these two parameters, you can find out the equation of the circle. Okay. Now, if I have equation, or let's say I want to find out the equation of the circle with some center, let's say 1, 2, and radius is 5. Okay. This is the center, this is the radius. So I can substitute in the formula. Let's say this is h comma k then. So x minus 1 whole square, y minus 2 whole square equals to square of the radius, which is 5 square. Okay. And this is not the expanded form. So if you expand the brackets, what you will get? X square minus 2x plus 1 plus y square minus 4y plus 4 equals to 25. So x square plus y square minus 2x minus 4y plus 4 plus 1 5 minus 25 equals to 0. So finally, equation of the circle is given by this. Okay, now why I give you this example? Because this is the general form of the equation. General form of the equation means you will see x square term, y square term, x term, y term, and constant term. This represents this equation of the circle. And that's why there is a formula given in your logbook, which is x square plus y square plus 2gx x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals to 0. This is the general form of the equation, which is in expanded form, which is looking like x square plus y square minus 2x minus 4y minus 20 equal to 0. This represents the equation of the circle or circle. And in mathematics, if you look at the equation, you can tell the shape of the graph. So for example, y is equal to 3x plus 2. This is representing linear equation because the power of x and y is 1. Okay, so that's represent linear equation. If you have equation like this, y is equal to, let's say, x square. So you have linear in y but quadratic in x, isn't it? So if you have a square for one variable and linear for the other variable, it represents parabola. Parabola means it can be U shape, smiley face, or sad face, basically. So basically with one turning point. Okay. And if you have, let's say, cubic equation, something like this. Okay, that's cubic equation because you have cube here. So this represents by two turning points. Okay, So if you have 3 power, then you will have 2 turning points. If you have power 2, you will have 1 turning point. And if you have power 1, you will have 0 turning point. That's why it's a straight line. So this is for 3 graphs. And for circle, the important part is you should have x square and y square term. Okay. You may have or may not have x and y or constant term, doesn't matter. But the most important part is x square and y square term should be there. And this represents a circle. Okay. So this represents a circle. If I write something like 5x square plus 5y square plus x plus y plus 10, this also represents circle because I have x square and y square term there. Okay. If I write 5x square plus 3y square plus x plus y plus 7, something like this, this does not represent circle. Why it does not represent circle? Because the coefficient of x square and y square, they are not same. So this does not represent circle. What it represents then? It represents an ellipse. Okay. So by looking at the equation, you can tell what should be the graph of this whatever equation you are using. Okay. So now coming back to the equation of the circle. So x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals to 0. If you know the full equation of the circle, you can get the center and radius of the circle. How? The formula is given in your logbook. Minus g comma minus f, and radius is square root of g square plus f square minus c. Okay. So when to use this formula? So basically they will give you the equation of the circle. They will give you the equation of the circle, and then you need to find out the center and radius. So you can find out the center and radius using the formula minus g minus f, g square plus f square minus c. Okay. So let's take an example. Okay. So it's a 2019 paper, question number 3. Okay, so question number 3, part A. The point minus 2 comma k is on the circle. They already give you the equation of the circle in this form. What they're asking for? They're asking for 2 possible values of k. Now why they are asking for 2 possible values? You don't need to worry about it. It will automatically give you. K belongs to z. What is z here? Z means integer. Any whole number, positive, negative, or 0. So you have the equation of the circle, and this point is on the circle. Again, the same concept. If this point is on the circle, so it must satisfy the equation of the circle, which means I can put x equal to minus 2, and I can substitute y equal to k. And then you just solve this. So if you have one unknown, you need one equations to solve it. Okay. So let us solve this. So minus 2 is minus 4. Minus 4 square is 16. Okay. Minus 4 whole square. So it's plus 16. K minus 3 whole square equals to 65. So k minus 3 whole square equals to 65 minus 16. So k minus 3 whole square equals to, so 65 minus 16 will give you 49, isn't it? Now, a lot of people open this bracket and then solve quadratic. You don't need to go by that route. It's too long, okay? All you need to understand is you just do k minus 3 equals to plus minus 7, okay? So you need to take square root of both sides, which will give you 7. Square root of 49 is 7. But why we are using plus 7 and minus 7? Because square of 7 is 49 or square of minus 7 is also 49. So k minus 3 can be 7 or k minus 3 value can be minus 7, isn't it? Because square of 7 is also 49 and square of minus 7 is also 49. So in this way you can break it into two possible solutions, okay? So you will get 7 plus 3, which is 10. And here you will get minus 7 plus 3, which is minus 4. So you got two answers. And make sure both are integers. And do not neglect or ignore this information, which was given at the start. K belongs to an integer. Integer means if, let's say, one answer is not an integer, so you should basically ignore that, okay? But in this case, both are integers, so you have to use it, okay? Now, the next part of this question, circle S is in the first quadrant, and it touches both the x-axis and y-axis. Now, this is very important question in terms of concept. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, okay? They draw some circle. Okay, so this circle is touching both x-axis and y-axis. That's the center of the circle. And there is a line which is tangent to this circle at some point here. Okay, so let's draw a line. Now, diagram is given in your question. This is circle S. They already give you the equation of the tangent. So equation of the tangent is 3x minus 4y plus 6 equal to 0. You need to find out the equation of the circle. Okay, so think backwards. What we want, equation of the circle. In order to get the equation of the circle, what you need? Center and radius, isn't it? These are the two things you need to get the equation of the circle, because you know the formula x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equal to r square. So your whole focus is to get the center and the radius. So the question is how to get the center. Now, they did not give you anything other than the equation of the line. So you need to use the concept. So the concept is, they said both the circle is touching both the axes, isn't it? So if I say, let's say if I touch or connect center to the x-axis as well as to the y-axis, so what will happen? If I say the radius of the circle is a, so what is the coordinate of the center then? A comma a, because this distance would be a and this should be a as well. Why? Because the circle is touching x-axis as well as y-axis. That's why this distance must be same as this distance. Circle has the same radius all over the place, isn't it? So this is the key thing about this question. So if the circle is touching both both of the axes, then all these distances you can consider as a, and the coordinates of the center would be a comma a. So I can straight away get the equation of the circle in terms of a. So for example, x minus a whole square, y minus a whole square equals to a square, isn't it? So I only need to get the value of a. Okay. Now, the second important concept here is, so first concept is it is touching x-axis and y-axis, so that's why you can assume as a. Second concept is radius. If you connect center to this tangent, let's say here, obviously this is also the radius. But the concept is the radius is always perpendicular to the tangent. Always. Okay. Radius and tangent, they are always perpendicular to each other. So what we can use here is the perpendicular distance formula, because this is the point here, center, and the distance between the point, center, and the line is equals to the radius of this circle, which is a. So first of all, what is perpendicular distance formula? Okay, so if you have a line with equation ax plus by plus c equal to 0, and you have a point x1 comma y1, and you want to find out distance between the point and the line, which is called perpendicular distance. Why it is called perpendicular distance? Because it is the shortest distance which we need to find out. Otherwise, there could be many distances from the line. We don't need to worry about all these distances. So when they are asking for the distance between a point and the line, you need to use this formula, which is given in your logbook. It's a called perpendicular distance formula. How to use the formula? You substitute the x coordinate and y coordinate in the equation. Make sure your equation is written in this form, divided by square root of a square plus b square, which is the coefficient of x and y in the equation. So this will give you the distance between the point and the line. In our question, the point is the center of the circle, which is a comma a, and the equation is the tangent. Okay, so let us use this formula for this. So equation is this 3x minus 4y plus 6 equal to 0. So if I substitute, so 3a minus 4a plus 6 over square root of 3 square plus. Now you have to be careful here. This sign is always plus. Even if you have a negative coefficient here like minus 4, so you should put a bracket here and then square it. So it's a square of the coefficient of y. So which is obviously positive, okay, because it's a square. And this is equals to the radius of the circle, which is a. So if you look at the diagram, the perpendicular distance is a. Okay, so let us solve this. 3a minus 4a is minus a plus 6. This will give you 9 plus 16 a. Why we are using mod here? Mod is for positive answer, okay, because length cannot be negative, so we have to use mod. So minus a plus 6 over square root of 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5 equals to a. Okay, now what to do? So you have a on the other side and you have a mod. You cannot just ignore mod here, so you need to square both sides. Why we need to square both sides here? Because we don't know what is the value, whether minus a plus 6 is positive or negative. Okay, so we cannot just say minus a plus 6. So you need to square it, because even if it is negative, the square would be positive. So that's why you have to square both sides. So minus a plus 6 whole square over 25 equals to a square, and then you solve this. How will you solve this? Minus a plus 6 whole square. If you want, you can multiply as two brackets. Otherwise, you will get a square minus 12a plus 36 over 25 equal to a square. Okay. So a square minus 12a plus 36 equals to 25a square. Let's move everything on the right hand side. So 25a square minus a square plus 12a minus 36 equals to 0. Okay, so I'm moving everything from left to right. So you will get 24a square plus 12a minus 36 equals to 0. It's a quadratic equation. Now before you solve this, you can try simplifying it. So divide everything by 12, which will give you 2a square plus a minus 3 equals to 0. Okay, and then you can use factorization, or you can use minus b formula to get the value of a. So whichever you think is going to work. So let's use minus b formula. So minus b means minus 1 plus minus 1 minus, so 4 is a 12, 12 is a 24 over 2 by 2. So I'm just doing it quickly. So minus 1 plus minus square root of 25 is 5 over 4. So you will get 1 plus minus 1 plus 5 over 4. Another value is minus 1 minus 5 over 4, isn't it? 5 minus 1 is 4, 4 over 4 is 1. So a is 1. And I will ignore the second value. Why? Because it is negative. A cannot be negative. And they already said in the question that the circle is in the first quadrant. So A cannot be negative even for the center of the circle. So the center of the circle would be 1, 1, and the radius of the circle would be 1 because A is your radius. So finally, equation of the circle is given by x minus 1 whole square, y minus 1 whole square equals to 1 square, which is 1. Okay, so that's the idea behind this question. So this is how you can use the concept in the circle. This is very important concept, that radius is perpendicular to the tangent. Sometimes you use perpendicular distance formula. Sometimes you can also use perpendicular slopes, depending on the question I'm saying. And if the circle is touching x-axis and y-axis, so you can, instead of assuming center as a comma b, you should say a comma a. Otherwise you will be introducing extra variable which would be difficult to solve. Okay, so let's take the question. Yeah, this is also important. 2017 question number 4. In these type of question, what they will give you is 3 points, 0, 0, another point 6.5, 0, another point 10, 7. All these points are on the circle. This is all given. But the question is, find the equation of the circle. So how to get the equation of the circle if you know 3 points on the circle? Anybody has any idea? Simultaneous equations. How will you get the equations, Kevin? How will you get the equations? Very good. Yes. So again, you can see that we are using the same concept. The equation of the circle is given in general form in your logbook. isn't it? And I know 3 points on the circle. So if they are on the circle, they must satisfy this equation. So you can see how many times I use this very simple concept of equation. Doesn't matter what graph you are talking about, whether it's a line or a circle or whatever it is. So first point is 0, 0. Let's use the simple one. And if this is on the line circle, then it must satisfy the equation. So if I substitute in place of x and y, what you will get? 0, 0, 0, 0. This is all gone. So you will get c equal to 0. So what is my objective? I need to get the equation of the circle. In order to get the equation of the circle, I need to get GFC, isn't it? GFC. So I got C. Let's use other 2 points. 6.5, 0. So 6.5 square, 0 square, 2g times 6.5, 2f times 0 plus. Now you don't need to worry about C because C is already 0. So let's put it 0 there for C as well, isn't it? And then you use a calculator. So 6.5 square. So what's the square of 6.5? 6.5. 42.25. So this is 42.25 plus 6.5 multiplied by 2 is 13. So 13g equals to 0. So 13g is equal to minus 42.25. So g equals to minus 42.25 divided by 13. So 42.25 divided by 13 will give you 3.25. So minus 3.25 is the value of G. Similarly, we got C, we got G. So only variable left is F. So again, the point is 10, 7. And if you substitute, you will get this, isn't it? 149. We already know G, so I will use that value minus 3.25 times 10 plus 14F equals to 0. Okay, and then you just need to solve this. So what we will get, so I'm just using calculator here to get the answer. 100 plus 49, 149 minus 2 times 3.25 times 10. So this is 84. So 14F is equal to minus 84. F equals to minus 84 over 14. Six. So F is minus 6. Okay. So we got GFC, and then you put it back in your original equation. So x square plus y square plus 2gx. Okay. G is minus 3.25. So 2 multiplied by minus 3.25 will give you 6.5. So minus 6.5 x plus 2gf, 2fy, sorry. So minus 12 y, and c is 0. So you don't need to write. So this is the equation of the circle. So this is another way of finding the equation of the circle. If you know 3 points, again, you have 3 variables, G, F, C. So you need 3 equations, and that's why they give you 3 points. But generally they give you simple points like this so that you can quickly get it. Otherwise, it can be a problem. Second question is second part of this question is find angle BCA. So BCA, so if you go back to the diagram, BCA, so you need to connect B with C, and like that. And this is, let's say, theta. Angle BCA. You already know point B, C, and A. And if you want to find out angle between these two lines, you already know the formula. Tan theta is equal to M1 minus M2 over 1 plus M1 M2. So all you need to do is find out slope of this line using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this line AC, and then you substitute in this formula to get the angle. Okay, so that's pretty much straightforward, which we already covered. Okay, so I think we need to cover more questions on the circle, but I would say you can practice this first. You can practice this first. Anna said find the radius and the center. Okay. Yeah, you don't need center and radius. You just need to substitute the points, find and get 3 equations, and then solve it. Okay. So yeah, so we need to finish that. Unfortunately, we couldn't start probability. So I would like to maybe cover a few more questions next week on coordinate geometry, like circle, and then we'll move on to probability. Next week we can spend half of the time in probability. Okay, is that okay, everyone? So I'll share this video in the WhatsApp group. So hope you find, but you need to focus on practicing whatever questions we are doing. You know, you have more questions in the book as well. Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much. All the best. Bye.